So a lady was driving and a cop pulled up right behind her. The cops, there's two in the car. So anyways, they both opened up their doors on each side and got out. I don't know if one's in training or what's going on, but very intimidating, and definitely turn on their lights where there was no emergency, and that is a fraud. To do so, it's a felony. That you are not supposed to create an emergency where one did not previously exist, and that's exactly what they did. She is just traveling on the roadways, not harming anyone. There's no victim. It's a victimless crime. But this is what we have going all over the corporate United States today. So they're running her plates and they're checking out to see what they need to do so they can, basically they're a bank and they are revenue officers, and so they are, basically making the banks some money and making their living off of terrorizing innocent people who are just traveling from one location to the next. And this is the corporate United States today. They definitely do not fear the people. Any of our public servants, they don't fear anyone, but you feel, you can feel fearful, when they intimidate you and come up and question, because they have a gun and they have a badge and they have the enforcers on their side, all of their kangaroo courts and their prosecutors, and it's a big giant business is what it is. And all of us have to kind of hem-haw and walk on eggshells around these terrorists that are just everywhere. You can't get away from them. And actually what I was doing was I saw a couple of little kids running. They left this recreational place. It's an aquatic center, and I was a little bit worried about them. So he's over there tapping on her window for whatever reason. But anyways, I saw a little boy and then his brother, and the little brother was kind of getting ahead of his younger brother, and the older brother, he crossed the street, and I just did not want someone to call CPS on them, and so I was going to kind of see where they lived and just kind of warn the mom and dad that we live in a place where there's predators everywhere, and they are, all it takes is one call in order to have someone turn in some type of an allegation of, abuse or neglect, and that would be a neglect allegation. And that's all it takes for your kids to be snatched up by this hungry system that feeds off of our families. But anyways, I wasn't able to see where they went, and we all need to do our part. I was really hoping I could just talk. I've stopped a couple people at the park before, and I've let them know to be very careful that a dad was sitting in the car watching their little one play, but was at a little bit of a distance. And I just said, someone could think that your child is not here being supervised, and just call it in. And it's your word against theirs. And once they get their hands on your children, then it's really, really hard to get them to go away. And you're always then in the system, and so are your kids. So anyways, I just thought I would make this video to show what, is going on. And I mean, you can't drive down the street here at the coast anywhere without these domestic terrorists just driving everywhere looking for something. They're not looking to protect and serve the people. They're looking to make money. to make the banks, which is their so-called courthouses, money, and to make their living off of it. And, you know, I know that there's some genuine people who work for the so-called enforcement. It's the statute and code enforcers. That's who they work for. I know that, you know, there's people who went into this wanting to do good things, just like with CPS. There's people who wanted to do good things, but when you are a statute and code enforcer, it's really hard to do any type of good when you are terrorizing people, and that's what you're doing. When there is a victimless crime and you're coming out and you're antagonizing them and interrogating them, coercing them to contract with you, it's a crime against humanity. And these types of things have been allowed to go on for quite a while, and that's why they have grown in power. And I watched some videos just today of watching kids being taken from their parents. The CPS came in the middle of the night, brought like several police cars after the parents said, no, you're not entering, because there was no supposed, you know, so-called judge order or warrant or anything like that. And somehow they got into the home after they brought all these revenue officers, and they took the kids. Now, fortunately, they did put the children with a grandma, but it's just sick and sad that they continue to do this type of thing. So right now, they're getting into this man's car. I'm sure that they've said, we need to search your car, and, you know, when we don't know our rights and we feel intimidated and all of that, it's kind of hard to stand up. It's, you know, you against them, and there's definitely two of them there, and I don't know what they're looking for and what they're doing. So this is just, yeah, this is how it goes. And here I am, because I know that if I were to go up there and I were to be in plain sight and I would be videoing, if I went up and talked, they would try to get me on some kind of charge of interference with police, whatever, investigation, or, yeah, I don't know exactly what they would call it. I've heard it several times on other people's video, but just interfering with their duties. And their number one duty, their only dirty duty, it's actually not a dirty duty, it's a very honorable duty to serve and protect us. The dirty duties that they're doing are right now, they're basically doing their dirty duties right on this guy's rights. That's what they're doing, to put it nicely. So I think I will sun gaze a little bit while I'm sitting here, and we'll see if I have enough video to let this play out, and see if they're gonna let this man go, or if they're going to give him some type of a ticket and try to force him to sign it, because, you know, they want the contract. And it's basically extortion for fiat money, and the entire thing is fraud and unlawful. But, you know, that's why they get these young guys and girls in here, is that they teach them in their public and government so-called funded schools, and they don't teach them the truth. Because how are you gonna enslave the people and have them go out as minions to go after one another and to kill, steal, and destroy one another if you teach them the truth and empower them? No, instead what you have to do is you have to use one of these entities, each of these right here, these men, they're trying to hide under their corporate status, their official capacity, but in actuality, an entity cannot come against a man, and that's it doesn't work. And there has to be 8 elements to a contract, which I can include in this video. So what they're doing is terrorizing this man, and it looks like what they're saying is maybe he circled or didn't put on a blinker, or he really created some kind of type of emergency and harmed someone else, so that they needed to come in and save the day so that we would all be safe and everything would be all right. I know I feel safer. I mean, after watching this, I feel like my community is so much safer, and that I will be able to sleep at night. And when I drive through the streets, this man, whatever type of warning they gave him, that, boy, they did their duty. I mean, it's pretty awesome that they were here to serve and protect the people. And so anyways, they did give him a piece of paper. It'd be interesting to see what that was about, and they turned off their lights. Unfortunately, they took off before I was able to come up to them, and they went the other way and weren't stopping. So I was going to go up and ask them what that was about, if they were willing to talk to me, just to find out more about why they were being terrorized. But anyways, it's not normally something I try to focus on, but this is, after watching some of these videos, I just really want people to realize that we need to rise up together in love, and to take our power back, and to know that we are men and women, and that we are actually spirits. We're more than men and women. We're spirits having this human experience. We're souls, living souls, infinite souls. So I thank you for watching, and I hope that you just raise your vibrations and take care of your families in that way, because this is more than meets the eye in this walk that we're in, and we're here to learn many things. And this is a dense, very dark planet at this time, with people who are not conscious. They're not awake. They're not conscious of what is going on in the world around them and what they're involved in. And so it makes for a very volatile and threatening place, and it's so sick where we've come and what is going on with kidnapping children and elderly, and imprisoning more in the population than any other country in the world. And we call ourselves civilized, with hundreds of thousands in foster care, hundreds, tens of thousands, if not more, having their parental rights terminated by these fictitious corporations, kangaroo so-called courts, and people's homes and everything else being taken. So, I mean, this is not used to fearmonger. This is used to awaken people to what's going on, and to search deeper within to what we are here for, and that we are one, and we're in this together. When you harm someone else, you're harming your own family and yourself. And so it's time to stop the human trafficking that's going on. Thank you for watching. Namaste.